I met Kate at a Super Bowl party in a buddy's cramped apartment. Plastic cups everywhere, the couch sinking in the middle, and nacho cheese staining the carpet like battle scars from parties past. I'd just gotten off a 12-hour shift fixing server racks in a data center that felt more like a meat locker. My hands still smelled faintly of dust and cheap coffee when I shook hers. She laughed at my joke about Brady being overrated, something I didn't even believe, just tossed out to fill the awkward air. But it worked. Her laugh was big, not the polite kind. I remember thinking, hell, someone like her, laughing at someone like me? I was hooked. Back then, I was still driving my rust-bitten Civic with the broken AC and the duct-taped rearview mirror. She didn't care. Kate was the kind of woman who'd roll the windows down and sing off-key to Bon Jovi on I-95 like it was a concert. I loved that. She didn't flinch at my cheap life. She folded herself into it like she belonged. Our first apartment was barely 600 square feet, one bedroom, paper-thin walls. We could hear the guy next door sneeze and the couple above us fight like they were in our kitchen. But we made it home. She filled it with houseplants and secondhand throw pillows. I mounted a $200 flat screen on the wall and declared it our home theater. On Saturdays, we'd binge shows and eat popcorn for dinner. She used to tuck gas station chocolates in my work bag, those cheap peanut clusters I liked. Said it was my reward for surviving another day in IT hell. I'd come home exhausted, and she'd be waiting barefoot in sweatpants, grinning like I was the only man on earth. For the first few years, it felt like we were a team. She worked as a receptionist at a pediatric clinic while taking online courses in dental admin. She always talked about wanting to build something with me, build a future, a life that mattered. I believed her. Vacations? We couldn't afford big ones. So we made the most of the long weekend. Road trips in my beat-up Civic, old motels with questionable plumbing, roadside diners with burnt coffee and greasy hash browns. I didn't care. She was my best friend. Her feet on the dashboard, her laugh spilling out the window, her hand in mine on quiet drives. I thought, this is it. I made it. When I finally got promoted to senior tech at the firm, we celebrated with cheap champagne and takeout Chinese on our patio. She cried, told me she was proud, said she couldn't wait to have kids one day, to build a house, maybe even start her own dental office. Her eyes lit up when she talked about the future, and I wanted to give her all of it. I worked long hours, sometimes weekends, socking away every bonus and tax refund. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't into luxury. I just wanted to build us a cushion, a life where she never had to worry. We upgraded to a nicer apartment, then eventually bought a modest home in the suburbs. She picked the paint. I hung the shelves. We planted a little maple tree in the yard. Felt like roots. Every step we took felt earned. Every crack in the drywall, every sleepless night felt like progress. She never had to ask twice. I was there, present, loyal, all in. That's what kills me the most now, looking back. Because when you love someone like that, when you build your life with them like they're your damn foundation, you don't see the termites until it's already hollow inside. I didn't notice when her kisses started getting shorter. I didn't clock the nights she stayed late at work as red flags. I chalked it up to stress, told myself every couple hits a rough patch. I figured it was just growing pains. You build a life, things get hard, right? But in those good years, I never doubted us. Not once. I truly believed I'd married my best friend. A woman who saw me for me. A woman who chose the man with the busted Civic and the 70-hour work weeks, not the guy with money or flash. I thought I was her safe place. Turns out I was just her stepping stone. Started slow, so slow I almost missed it. Like a small draft in a sealed room, barely noticeable until one day, the air just feels cold. Kate landed a new job at a high-end dental office downtown. Fancier clientele. Designer uniforms. She was excited, and I was happy for her. She deserved more than answering phones in a cramped pediatric clinic with crayon drawings taped to every wall. I told her she'd earned it, that we'd both climbed out of the trenches. But right after she started, things shifted. The first time I noticed something off was the wardrobe. Suddenly, the Target scrubs and tennis shoes were replaced with form-fitting dresses, nude heels, new makeup palettes, even perfume I didn't recognize. Just trying to look the part, she said, brushing off my raised eyebrow. I didn't argue. I figured she wanted to fit in with the other girls at the clinic, polished, professional. No harm in that. Then it was the phone. She used to toss it on the counter when she got home, face up, buzzing with work group chats and family memes. Now, it stayed face down, locked, always on silent. Once, she nearly jumped out of her skin when I picked it up to hand it to her while it buzzed. She laughed it off, saying it was just an intense group thread. I nodded, didn't press. I told myself not to be paranoid. I trusted her. We had history, but little by little our routines started breaking down. She'd come home late and said she was grabbing drinks with the girls from work. I asked who. She mumbled a few names I'd never heard before. I asked if I could meet them sometime. She gave me a vague smile and changed the subject. Evenings used to be our time. Simple things. Making dinner together, sharing dumb stories from our day, movie marathons on the couch. But now she came home wired or exhausted. Either too chatty about her boss's vacation photos or completely silent, scrolling through her phone while we ate in separate rooms. Some nights she didn't eat at all. I'd ask, "Everything okay?" She'd say, "Yeah, just tired." Or worse, "Why do you always think something's wrong?" I stopped asking. Sex slowed to a crawl. Then it stopped altogether. One night, I reached for her in bed, and she pulled away like my touch was a burden. She didn't say anything, just turned her back and adjusted the blanket like she was rearranging her whole life without me in it. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking maybe I'd messed something up. Maybe I wasn't enough anymore. Maybe she needed more romance, or more adventure, or maybe I'd just gotten boring. Another guy coming home with aching feet and a pizza box under his arm. So I tried harder, cleaned up more, took her out to dinner, booked us a weekend in the Blue Mountains. Something cozy, just us. She seemed distracted the whole time, checked her phone more than the view. When I asked her if she was happy, she said, "Can't we just enjoy the trip?" I let it go. That Monday, she left early for work without kissing me goodbye. The silence started settling between us like a second skin. I'd wake up, and she'd already be gone. I'd go to bed, and she'd still be out. We'd pass each other in the hallway like roommates, not partners. And every time I brought it up, even gently, it turned into a fight. "You're being paranoid. I'm not doing anything wrong. Why can't I have a life outside of you?" That one stuck. Not outside work. Not outside the family. Outside me. It wasn't about space. It was about escape. And I felt it, like I was standing in the middle of our living room while she slowly erased me from the picture. One missed dinner, one late night, one locked phone at a time. But I still didn't want to believe it. I clung to the early years like a man hanging from a cliff by a fraying rope. I told myself we were just going through a phase. That stress, work, and routine were getting in the way. That love doesn't always look like gas station chocolates and road trip songs. It grows up, gets quiet, becomes something else. I was wrong. Love doesn't disappear unless someone walks away from it. And Kate wasn't walking. She was running. I just didn't know where yet. Or worse, to whom. But I was about to find out. Mia was never one to sugarcoat anything. Kate always said her stepsister had no filter, which was her polite way of calling Mia a pain in the ass. But I liked her honesty. She was blunt, observant, and didn't play nice to keep the peace. You always knew where you stood with Mia, even if you didn't like what she had to say. So when she asked if we wanted to grab dinner one Friday night, I figured it would be a good distraction. Things at home were tense, silent mornings, colder nights. Kate hesitated when I brought up Mia's invite, said she was exhausted from work. I told her we could cancel, but she changed her mind suddenly, said, "Fine, let's just get it over with." That should have been the first red flag. Dinner with Mia wasn't a chore, unless you had something to hide. We met at a steakhouse Kate used to love. I could tell she didn't want to be there from the moment we walked in. She kept checking her phone, sighing, shifting in her seat like her skin didn't fit right. Mia arrived 5 minutes late, hair up in a messy bun, wearing jeans and a leather jacket like she owned the place. She hugged me, gave Kate a short glance, and sat down like she was sliding into a courtroom bench instead of a booth. We ordered drinks. Conversation started light, work updates, traffic, the usual small talk. Mia asked about Kate's new job, and Kate gave clipped answers. No mention of co-workers. No stories. Just flat summaries. I tried to fill the gaps, but Mia wasn't listening to me. Her eyes stayed on Kate. Then, right after the food arrived, Mia leaned forward and said, calm and surgical, "So, how's Ethan?" Kate froze mid-bite. Her hand jerked just slightly, enough to make the fork clink against the plate. She didn't look at me, just blinked twice and said, "Who?" Mia raised an eyebrow. "Your coworker. Tall, drives the Tesla, always texting you after hours. Ethan." The silence was like a dropped bomb. Kate let out a laugh. Too loud. Too forced. "Are you serious? Are you actually accusing me of something at dinner?" "I didn't accuse you," Mia said flatly. "I just asked how he was." Kate snapped. "You're unbelievable. You've always been jealous. Ever since Mom married your dad, you've had it out for me. What is this? Some twisted attempt to ruin my marriage?" Mia leaned back, unbothered. "If it's solid, no one can ruin it." I just sat there. My stomach churned. I looked at Kate. Not her words, but her eyes. They weren't angry. They were scared. That's when it clicked. All the silence, the cold shoulders, the late nights and locked phone. It wasn't stressful. It didn't work. It was guilt. She wasn't pulling away. She was disappearing, step by step, because someone else had her attention. Someone named Ethan. Kate stood abruptly. "We're leaving." I didn't move. "Sit down." She glared at me. "Excuse me?" I said sit down. My voice was steady, cold, like ice forming over fire. Mia didn't flinch. She just sipped her water, watching. Kate sat, slowly, reluctantly, like a puppet realizing someone else was pulling the strings now. I turned to Mia. "How long have you known?" "Long enough to get tired of watching you play loyal husband while she plays house with someone else." She looked at Kate again. "You've changed, and not in a good way." Kate crossed her arms. "This is pathetic. You two are sitting here playing judge and jury." "I'm not judging you," Mia said. "I just wanted Jake to stop blaming himself." Kate's jaw clenched. "I'm done with this." I stood there, tossed a few bills on the table and looked her in the eyes. "We'll talk later," I said quietly. She didn't respond, just stormed out, heels snapping across the tile. Mia sat back and exhaled. "I probably blew it, huh?" I nodded slowly. "No." You opened my eyes. She studied me for a second. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But I will be." That was the night the fog lifted. The night I stopped making excuses for the cracks and started seeing the wreckage underneath. I didn't have proof yet, but I didn't need it. I saw enough in Kate's reaction to know Mia wasn't lying. I drove home with the window down, the cool air biting my face. And for the first time in months, my anger had direction. It wasn't just frustration or confusion anymore. It was clarity. The night after dinner with Mia, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan spin in slow, lazy circles. Kate was beside me, silent, scrolling her phone with her back turned like always. She hadn't said a word since the restaurant. Not a defense, not an apology, nothing but that stony, distant act she'd been wearing for weeks. But her hand was shaking slightly. That was all I needed. I stopped guessing that night, stopped second-guessing myself, stopped blaming my work hours or our growing pains. I'd spent months carrying the weight of her distance like it was my fault. That ended now. The next morning, I pulled out an old box from the closet, receipts, spare keys, my tech junk. I still had an unused security camera from when we first moved into the house. Within an hour, I had it mounted discreetly in the living room. 2 more followed, one aimed at the garage, another over the front door, all synced to my phone. No alerts, no beeps, just silent recording. I didn't tell her. That week, I started playing a part. Smile more, asked about her day, kissed her cheek in the morning. She looked at me suspiciously, like she couldn't figure out what game I was playing. It didn't matter. I wasn't trying to win her back. I was setting the board. I adjusted my work schedule, told my boss I'd start coming in earlier, and left earlier. That gave me a window, just enough to get home ahead of her or circle the neighborhood when she didn't know I was nearby. I started tracking her habits like code logic, input, output, inconsistencies. Every night, her phone stayed face down on the nightstand. Every Thursday, she claimed to have office inventory meetings that ran past 8. One Thursday, I drove past her office around 7:45. The building was pitch dark. Her car wasn't in the lot. Another time, I noticed a charge on our shared credit card, $1.92 at Bella's Trattoria. It was a weekday. I hadn't been there in over a year. When I asked her what she had for lunch that day, she said, "Just grabbed something quick from the food court." I didn't flinch, just nodded, made a mental note. The next day, I parked across the street from Bella's at 12:45, phone in hand, security feed open, heart pounding like I was staking out a hostage exchange. At 1:07 p.m., she walked in, hair curled, lipstick done, wearing that green wrap dress I'd always liked. And she wasn't alone. The guy was tall, gym-built, early 30s, and confident. Tan skin, designer watch, grinning like he'd won the lottery. I took pictures, several. They didn't hold hands, but they leaned in close, smiled a lot, shared dessert. Her hand grazed his wrist once, longer than it should have. He paid the bill. I didn't approach them, didn't make a scene. I wasn't interested in drama. I wanted leverage. That night, I reviewed the footage from the camera near the garage. Around 10:37 p.m., she stepped outside in a long coat, phone pressed to her ear. She was pacing, smiling. Her voice didn't carry, but her body language did. She looked 16 again, flushed, giddy, alive. She wasn't that way with me anymore. I checked the timestamps. He never came to the house. Too smart for that, I guess. Or maybe just not stupid enough. But I know now. It wasn't just distance. It wasn't just stress. It was Ethan. I confirmed his name through a quick LinkedIn search of the dental office staff. Ethan Baird, new marketing director, former fitness coach, public speaker. His page was full of shirtless retreat photos and inspirational quotes about knowing your worth. The kind of guy who oozes charm and probably had 5 backup plans if one woman flaked. Kate wasn't special to him. She was just next. And me? I was the husband with the mortgage and the utility bills, the one putting in the hours while she had her little side fantasy over lunch and long texts. I'd spent 15 years building a foundation, and she was sneaking around like a teenager. The anger hit hard that night. It burned in my throat, sat heavy in my chest. I wanted to wake her up, throw the photos on the bed, and demand answers. But I didn't. I lay there in the dark, eyes wide open, listening to her breathe. She thought she was getting away with it. She thought I was too naive, too tired, too stable to notice. But I saw it all now, and I was done waiting for honesty. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to plan. The day after I confirmed it all, her lunches, the late-night calls, the fake overtime, I took the morning off and met with a divorce lawyer. The office was clean and cold. The kind of place where every chair looked expensive but uncomfortable. A young assistant offered me coffee. I declined. I wasn't here to relax. My lawyer, a woman named Ellen, had the look of someone who'd seen every kind of ugly a marriage could rot into. She didn't ask me how I was feeling. She asked me what I had. I laid it all out: photos, dates, timestamps, credit card statements, the surveillance footage. I showed her my phone screen with the neatly organized folders labeled April logs, Ethan lunches, garage calls. I wasn't emotional. I was clinical. When I finished, Ellen nodded once and said, "Good. Now shut up and don't react. Keep collecting. Do not confront her. Do not leave the house. Don't raise your voice. You want leverage? Keep acting like nothing's wrong. Let her dig her own grave." I left that office with a plan, and with the strange sense that I was finally back in control. At home, I went back to playing my role. I smiled at Kate. I asked about her day. I let her lie to my face, all while adding another line to the spreadsheet. I stopped using the joint account and opened my own. Quietly, moved my paycheck deposits. Froze the savings she didn't know I could access alone. She never asked, why would she? She thought I was still asleep at the wheel. The thing is, when a woman thinks you're clueless, she gets careless. That's what happened next. One night, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. It buzzed. Face up. No lock screen. Stupid. Or maybe just arrogant. The message preview read, Ethan, Thursday still on? I've missed that smile. I took a photo of the screen. Didn't open anything. Just logged the time, date, sender. Later that week, I pulled old receipts, tracked her movements down to the hour, and matched them to every message alert I'd seen pop up. The affair wasn't a slip-up. It wasn't some drunken one-night stand. It was a full-blown, calendar-synced relationship behind my back, carefully scheduled around my work hours and her networking events. She even had the nerve to call me predictable once, during one of her moody spells. I guess I was predictable enough to trust her, predictable enough to make her feel safe while she played dress-up with some corporate clown. But not anymore. I had dinner with Mia the next Friday. We met at a burger joint off I-84, neutral ground nobody Kate would recognize. I filled her in. Everything. Her eyes didn't widen. She didn't gasp. She just said, "Took you long enough." I chuckled. "You're not gonna say I told you so?" "I don't need to," she said, sipping her soda. "You're already doing something about it." Over the next few weeks, our conversations got more frequent. At first, it was just check-ins about Kate's latest moves. Mia heard things from their side of the family, and she'd pass them on. No filter. But gradually, the tone changed. We started joking again, sharing little stories. She'd call and say, "Need intel?" Or just someone to make you laugh today. Both, usually. I didn't expect it to happen, but Mia became the one person I didn't have to lie to. I didn't have to pretend I was fine. She didn't try to fix it. She just listened. Back at home, I kept the performance going. I complimented Kate on her dress before she left for work drinks. I cooked dinner once or twice. She acted like she appreciated the effort, but I saw the guilt in the way she avoided eye contact. That twitch in her jaw. That half-second pause before saying, "Thank you." She knew something was off. She just couldn't figure out what. And that was exactly what I wanted. I wasn't going to blow up in the kitchen. I wasn't going to chase Ethan down or post the pictures online. I wasn't interested in public drama. That's not strength. That's noise. I wanted silence. Silence where her lies used to live. Silence when the papers hit her hand. Silence when I walked away. Stronger, smarter, and a hell of a lot more dangerous than the man she used to know. The time was coming. I could feel it. She thought she was building toward some grand exit. Some carefully worded breakup speech that made her the brave one. The victim. She'd probably rehearsed it in her head a dozen times. Let her rehearse. I'd already written the final scene. It came on a Monday evening of all things. Like a quiet ambush wrapped in polite tones. Kate walked into the kitchen while I was rinsing off a pan from dinner. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed, eyes calm but too still, like she was bracing for something. "I made a reservation for us," she said. I looked over my shoulder. "Yeah, Thursday night. Bella's. Thought we could talk. It's been a while." She said it softly. Too soft. Not like an invitation, like a setup. And I knew exactly what it was. Bella's. The same restaurant I'd photographed her and Ethan in weeks ago. The one she lied about visiting. She thought she was being poetic, bringing our story full circle. Like some dramatic finale she'd get to control. I played it cool. "Sounds nice. Haven't been in a while." She smiled, relieved, almost smug. "Yeah, we need to clear the air." Clear the air, right? That Thursday, I dressed with care. Button-down shirt, leather watch, clean shave. A man ready for a pleasant dinner or a quiet war. In my jacket pocket was the folder Ellen helped me prepare. The divorce papers, financial disclosures, photographic evidence, screenshots, and the retainer agreement already filed with the court. Every page is neatly ordered. Kate came out of the bedroom dressed to kill. Black dress, that perfume I now associate with deception. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "You look nice," I said, holding her gaze just a beat longer than usual. You too. The ride to Bella's was quiet. She scrolled her phone the entire way, texting. Probably Ethan. Maybe telling him she was finally doing it. Finally cutting me loose. I gripped the wheel and smiled to myself. I was counting on it. We were seated at a table near the back, candlelight flickering off the wine glasses. She ordered red. I asked for water. She glanced around like she was waiting for something, or someone, to interrupt. I already knew she expected a fight, maybe even a tearful plea. But all she got was me, calmly folding my napkin while she rehearsed her lines in her head. So, she started, eyes drifting to the tablecloth. I've been thinking about us a lot lately. I nodded. Have you? She took a breath. I feel like we've been drifting, and it's not fair to either of us to pretend things are okay when they're not. I tilted my head. And when did that start, you think? The drifting. She blinked. I don't know. Maybe after I started my new job. Things changed. I changed. I let the silence stretch, just enough to let her sweat. Then I said, "You want to talk about Ethan?" That broke her rhythm. Her lips parted. What? Ethan Baird, I said calmly. Marketing director, Tesla driver, Bella's lunch date, Thursday meetings that don't exist. Her mouth opened, then closed. I've known for weeks, Kate. I have pictures, timestamps, credit card logs. The footage of you in the garage pacing on the phone at night. I have that too. She leaned back like I'd slapped her. You were spying on me? No, I was documenting my exit. You just made it easy. Her hands shook now. She reached for her glass, but barely touched it. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I cut in. You didn't fall out of love. You fell into a better offer. Or at least one that looked better from the outside. I never meant. Don't, I said, my voice sharp but steady. You picked your path. This is just the consequence of catching up. I pulled the folder from my jacket and slid it across the table. She stared at it. Divorce papers. Financial disclosures. You'll find the terms generous, considering. I'm keeping the house. You can keep the furniture you picked out to impress strangers. She didn't move. Jake, please. Before she could finish, the maitre d' approached. Excuse me, sir. Your guest has arrived. Kate frowned. Guest? I stood up and turned toward the entrance. Mia. She walked in calm, elegant, no theatrics. A simple navy dress, heels, and a confidence Kate hadn't worn in years. She smiled at me. Not a romantic smile, not yet. Just solidarity. Strength. I turned back to Kate. You wanted an ending tonight, Kate. Here it is. But it's mine. She stared at Mia like she'd seen a ghost. You brought her. No. I invited someone who actually tells the truth. Mia stepped beside me. Hi, Kate. Kate looked like she might throw the wine glass. But she didn't. She just sat there, seething, watching as I walked out of Bella's with her sister at my side and her lies piled neatly on the table. She wanted drama. She got silent. She wanted control. I gave her consequences. And me? I didn't look back. The next morning, I woke up to silence. Not the heavy, resentful silence that had hung in our house for months. This was clean silence. Free silence. The kind that made the air feel lighter. The kind that told me I didn't owe anyone anything anymore. Kate didn't come home that night. I wasn't surprised. By 10 a.m., my phone lit up. 10 missed calls, for voicemails, and a string of texts that read like a script thrown in the fire. Started with, "You blindsided me. You didn't have to humiliate me like that." Then, "We could have talked this through. I was trying to be honest." And finally, "I didn't even sleep with him, Jake. It was just emotional. We can fix this." Excuse. Desperation. In that order. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty, but because there was nothing left to say. I wasn't going to let her drag me back into her performance. She'd pulled the trigger, thinking I'd fall apart. But I was already standing, calm, and halfway through the door by the time she aimed. And now she was the one holding the gun and bleeding. That afternoon, Ellen filed the final divorce documents. Everything was set. She'd receive official service through her office. Quietly, legally, no drama. I didn't need a crowd. I just needed closure. Kate's mother called that evening. "I don't know what's going on between you two," she said, her voice tense. "But whatever it is, can you please not drag Mia into it?" I almost laughed. Kate had wasted no time spinning her version of the story. Probably framed it like Mia and I had conspired, like she was the victim of some family betrayal. I simply replied, "Tell your daughter I hope she finds whatever she thought was missing," and hung up. The next couple of days passed in a haze of paperwork, conversations with Ellen, and quiet dinners alone. But I didn't feel hollow. I didn't feel broken. I felt stripped clean, like I'd walked through fire and came out steel. Mia texted me that Friday. "You okay?" I answered honestly, "More than okay." She came by the next day. We didn't talk about Kate. We sat on the back patio, drinking coffee, watching the wind ripple through the maple tree I planted when we bought the house. She pointed at it and said, "Funny, that thing outlasted your marriage." I snorted. It didn't lie to me, cheat, or ask for extra closet space. She grinned. "And it grows without needing constant praise." We both laughed. It wasn't forced. It wasn't polite. It was real. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a man dragging a broken past behind him. I felt like someone moving forward, slow and steady, but moving all the same. Later that week, I received another text from Kate. "I hope you're happy with her. I hope this was worth throwing everything away." That was her final mistake, because I hadn't thrown anything away. She had. She threw away loyalty for attention, respect for ego, a home for a cheap thrill. All I did was hold up a mirror, and she couldn't stand the reflection. I didn't reply. Instead, I went inside, poured a whiskey, and sat by the window watching the sun set. A quiet evening. No fights, no gaslighting, no half-hearted apologies or fake smiles. Just me, a clean slate, and the sound of my own peace. Kate's story had ended the way she never expected. Without a bang, without a scream, without control. And mine was just beginning. The texts kept coming for a while, some angry, some pathetic. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Ethan isn't even talking to me anymore. How could you do this to me after everything we had?" Every word only confirmed what I already knew. She wasn't sorry for the betrayal. She was sorry she got caught. Sorry that the exit she planned so carefully ended with her sitting alone at Bella's while I walked out with the upper hand. And her sister. I never blocked her. That would have been too easy for her. I let the messages roll in and sit unread. Let her spiral. Let her twist herself in knots trying to get a reaction. She never got one. Mia said it best. Let her spin in her own web. That's where people like her belong. The fallout came faster than I expected. 2 weeks after the dinner, I got a call from one of Kate's coworkers. Actually, the receptionist who used to handle scheduling at her office. She was quitting, and before she did, she wanted me to know something. Apparently, Ethan had been entangled with more than one woman at the clinic. Kate was just the latest flavor. Word had gotten out after someone found texts on a shared office iPad. The office manager called it a breach of professional conduct. Ethan was given the chance to resign quietly. Kate tried to play victim. Didn't work. By the time the dust settled, Kate wasn't just humiliated. She was unemployed, blacklisted from 2 other dental practices in the city, and feuding with her mother over how the family found out everything through Mia's Facebook post. It wasn't even a gloating post, just a photo of Mia and me at a local fair. Arms around each other. Big, real smiles. The caption read, "No more secrets, no more liars, just peace." That one picture set off a wildfire. Kate's relatives split down the middle, some siding with her, some calling her selfish, others cutting ties completely. It was like watching a collapsing bridge, one support at a time until nothing remained. And through it all, I said nothing. I didn't post, didn't gloat, didn't tell my side. I just lived. Mia and I kept things simple. No labels, no pressure, just quiet evenings, long talks, and slow walks around the block with takeout and tired feet. She helped me clean out the closets, repaint the walls, and toss all the old photos. We made space, not just in the house, but in my mind. For the first time, I felt light. I wasn't carrying betrayal anymore. I wasn't trying to fix something that never respected me. I was just existing, breathing, healing. And Mia? She wasn't some rebound or consolation prize. She was the one person who never lied to me, never played games. She didn't try to make me feel better with soft words. She gave me truth, sharp and clear, the kind that hurts first, then heals deeper. People around town started noticing the way I carried myself, the quiet confidence, the absence of bitterness. A couple of my buddies from work even jokes, "Man, whatever you're on, bottle it up. I'll take two." But they didn't see the whole story. They didn't see the nights I sat in that cold kitchen wondering what I'd done wrong. The weeks I spent doubting myself, stretching to fit into a mold Kate no longer respected. The moments where I wanted to scream but chose silence instead. That was the real work, the quiet war. And I won it by never picking up the weapons she wanted me to use. Let her gossip, let her rant, let her stew in her own lies and tell whatever story she needs to sleep at night. Me? I sleep just fine. It's been 6 months. 6 months since Bella's. 6 months since the lies came crashing down and the woman I thought I married revealed who she really was. People keep asking me if I miss her. I don't. What I miss are the memories we built when I thought I was building with a teammate. But the person in those memories isn't the woman who sat across from me at that restaurant, trying to turn betrayal into a narrative about her growth. No, what I miss was never real. Not to her. That's the truth I had to swallow before I could ever move forward. But I did move forward. The legal process wrapped up cleanly, thanks to Ellen's precise documentation and my refusal to react emotionally. The judge signed off on the final decree 3 weeks ago. The house is in my name. She walked away with less than she expected. Barely more than a folded chair and a leased car. She didn't even fight it. I think she knew she couldn't win. Not after the folder. Not after the silence. I redecorated the house 1 room at a time. Repainted the living room. Tore down the photos. Boxed up everything from our wedding. And dropped it off at her sister's with a note. Keep it, burn it, or leave it in the past. Your call. I bought a dog. A 2-year-old rescue named Ranger. Border Collie mix. Smart as hell and loyal to the bone. He follows me around the house like he knows I've been through something. Maybe he has too. We get each other. Mia comes over most nights now. She doesn't stay every time and we've kept things natural, no pressure, no need to define what it is. But whatever it is, it's real. It's earned. It grew in the ashes. Not from pity or rebound, but from raw honesty and shared scars. She makes coffee strong and burns toast half the time. I pretend not to notice. She rolls her eyes when I take too long at the hardware store. We laugh more than I thought possible after everything I went through. Not fake, not forced. Just 2 people who stopped expecting perfection and started appreciating the present. One night, we were sitting out back. Just me, Mia, and Ranger watching the sky turn orange. She turned to me and said, "You know, I'm glad she messed up." I looked at her. Yeah, she said, smiling. Because otherwise, you'd still be half asleep in a life that didn't deserve you. She wasn't wrong. Kate didn't break me. She revealed me to myself. She showed me that I had been holding together a one-sided fantasy with duct tape and loyalty, while she searched for excitement in a man who probably rehearsed his charisma in the mirror. What I learned is this: silence is a weapon. Dignity is armor. And a man doesn't need to roar to be dangerous. Sometimes the most terrifying thing you can do is walk away, calm, calculated, and unshaken. I've heard Kate moved back in with her mom. Ethan ghosted her. The job market's dried up. A few friends she used to brag about unfollowed her online after the full story trickled out. None of that brings me joy, but it does bring me peace. She's no longer my problem. I've started hiking again. Picked up woodworking, even built a new desk from scratch, real solid maple. Took my time with it. Measured every line. Sandy every edge smooth. When I finished, I ran my hand across the top and thought, This is what it means to build something that lasts. Not everything breaks because it's weak. Some things break because they were never built right to begin with. But me, I'm built right. I'm still standing. And now I'm not standing alone. So if anyone asks how I'm doing now, tell them I'm fine. Tell them I didn't just survive betrayal, I rebuilt from it. And this time, I'm not building for someone who lies behind my back. I'm building for someone who stands beside me.